Cinderella, the Folktale. The Shadowglass Slipper. The night was thick with mist, curling through the narrow alleys and creeping along the stone walls of the grand city of Eldoria, a place where whispers carried secrets and shadows told tales of despair and wonder alike. In the farthest corner of the city, past the bustling markets and gilded halls, stood an estate with high iron gates and ivy-choked walls, a house of cold silences and unseen sorrows. It was here that Eleanor lived, trapped in the cruel grasp of her stepmother, Lady Morgana, and her two insidious stepsisters, Seraphina and Odette. Once the daughter of a nobleman, Eleanor had been reduced to a mere servant, tending to the hearth while her family basked in luxury. But tonight, the winds of fate stirred differently. Tonight, the veil between reality and magic would shift. Beyond the darkened chambers of her prison, the palace buzzed with excitement. The Grand Masquerade Ball, held in honor of Prince Raphael's impending coronation, was the event of the decade. Every eligible maiden in the kingdom would be there, vying for his favor, their faces concealed beneath elaborate masks. But Eleanor, clad in rags and dust, had been forbidden to attend. Her heart ached as she watched her stepsisters preen before the grand mirror, draped in silks and adorned with golden filigree. Their laughter was a cruel melody against the silence of her despair. "You? At the ball?" Seraphina sneered, her painted lips curling. "Even if you had a mask, your wretchedness would show through." Odette chuckled, adding, "And the prince, dear sister, does not dance with ghosts." As they disappeared into the night, their carriage wheels echoing into the distance, Eleanor slumped to the cold floor, despair clawing at her chest. But just as the last embers of hope threatened to die within her, the flickering candlelight wavered, shadows stretching unnaturally along the walls. A gust of icy wind swept through the chamber, though the windows remained shut. And then, from the darkness, a voice like the whisper of forgotten dreams spoke. "Do you wish to be seen?" Eleanor's breath hitched. Emerging from the shadows stood a figure cloaked in midnight, her eyes glinting like distant stars. "Who are you?" Eleanor whispered, half in fear, half in awe. "A friend," the woman murmured, stepping closer. "A keeper of lost wishes." In her hands, she held a mask of spun silver, glimmering with an eerie luminescence. "Wear this, and none shall see who you truly are. But beware, for all magic comes with a price." Desperation overruled caution. Eleanor took the mask, its cool surface pressing against her skin. At once, her rags dissolved into a gown of stardust and midnight blue, her hair cascaded in golden waves, and upon her feet, there rested slippers of translucent glass, as fragile as a whispered secret. "Go," the woman urged, "but return before the final bell tolls, or the shadows will claim you." With a heart pounding in wild anticipation, Eleanor fled into the night, a phantom slipping through the veil of reality. The palace loomed ahead, its golden spires piercing the heavens. The ball was a swirl of color and music, a realm of wonder where time seemed to falter. As she stepped into the grand hall, heads turned, whispers trailing behind her like a forgotten melody. Who was this mysterious vision? Prince Raphael, weary of insincere smiles and empty flattery, felt a strange pull toward the enigmatic woman who had appeared as if from a dream. His gaze met hers, and in that instant, the world narrowed to a single heartbeat. "Dance with me," he murmured, his voice laced with curiosity and longing. And so, they danced, a waltz spun from destiny, their souls entwining in a rhythm older than time itself. But as the final bell began to toll, a chilling dread seeped into Eleanor's bones. The magic trembled, the air thickened with an ominous weight. Panic surged within her as she tore away from the prince's grasp, fleeing through the grand corridors. "Wait," he called, but she could not. The world around her began to shatter, reality bending at its seams. As she descended the palace steps, a single slipper slipped from her foot, left behind as the last echoes of enchantment unraveled. She barely made it beyond the palace gates when the transformation struck. The gown melted into ashes, the mask turned to dust, and the shadows that had granted her this fleeting moment surged forth to reclaim their due. A ghostly whisper coiled around her ear. The price is not yet paid. Terror gripped her, but before she could fathom the words, the night swallowed her whole. The kingdom awoke to a mystery. The prince was restless, his mind haunted by the masked maiden who had vanished like mist. He clutched the glass slipper, the only remnant of their encounter. Determined, he vowed to find her, unaware that darker forces had already begun their hunt. Eleanor awoke in a place not of this world, a realm where twilight reigned eternal. Shadows flickered, shifting with silent intent. The cloaked woman reappeared, her expression unreadable. You borrowed from the forgotten, and now the forgotten seek their due. Fear coursed through Eleanor. What do they want? The woman's gaze was sorrowful. Your place among the living. Meanwhile, the prince's search led him to Eleanor's home, where Lady Morgana feigned innocence. My daughters are the fairest in the land, she purred, presenting Seraphina and Odette. But the slipper rejected them, as if the very magic within it repelled the unworthy. Frustrated, the prince sensed deceit, and when he glimpsed the locked attic door, his pulse quickened. He forced it open, revealing Eleanor, pale and weakened, as though the life had been siphoned from her very soul. Recognition flared in his eyes. It's you. Before the stepmother could protest, the prince knelt, slipping the glass slipper onto Eleanor's foot. The air hummed, magic pulsing in a final, desperate attempt to reclaim what had been lost. But love, true and unyielding, held its own power. Eleanor gasped as warmth surged through her, breaking the shackles of the forgotten. The cloaked woman's whisper echoed in her mind. Love is the only magic that cannot be stolen. And so, the curse was lifted. The shadows receded, the debt forgiven. The prince took Eleanor's hand, guiding her into the light of a new dawn. The kingdom rejoiced. The tale of the Shadowglass slipper whispered for generations. But in the depths of the night, beyond the realm of sight, the cloaked woman watched, a knowing smile playing upon her lips. For every wish granted, another tale must begin, and the shadows, they never sleep.
Whispering echo.